Good morning, language warriors. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my show. It's Tuesday, June 27th. It's 9:18 a.m. here where I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. Welcome to my live stream. Hello. My name is Teacher Mark. If you don't know, nice to see you. Hello, Belen. My love. Hello, Sue and Hamid. Hello, Ryder. Hello, Adam and Akane. Hello, Hero and Ray and Ive. It's good to see lots of familiar faces. But I see some new faces here, too. Hello, Sammy. Hello, Ortiz. Hello, Angla Zijun. Hello, Karina. Hello, everyone. This is a new live stream I'm going to be doing here today. A little different than what I've done before. Today, I am going to try to give you as many English tips as I can. So, many times on my live streams, someone says, "Can you give me tips to improve my English?" And I always feel like I can't answer that question. That's too big. But today, I am going to answer that question. So, are you ready? Because I have a lot. I have a lot. All right. So we will get started with that in just a couple of minutes. Just a couple of minutes here. Let's see, who do we have here? Hello, Yolanda. Hello, Mr. Lin. Hello, iTeddy. Hello, Saeed and Sue. Hello, Lula. Once again, the weather here is incredibly comfortable for this time of the year. Usually, it's pretty hot this time of the year. But right now, this morning, it's only 20 degrees Celsius, and the high today is only going to be 25, which is really nice. So, after I finish my streams today, I will probably go outside to do something. I've been doing a lot of hiking, and I've been doing a lot of gardening, but I haven't gone fishing yet this year. Maybe I'll go fishing later. Maybe. I'm not really prepared, but maybe. Okay, are we ready to get started? Are we ready to get started with all of my English tips? I hope you guys have paper and notes. There's a lot of tips, but I am recording this live stream right now. I'm recording this live stream, and when I'm finished today, I will upload this live stream. So either tomorrow or the next day, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can watch this live stream over and over and over again. All right? So I'm recording this right now, so you can watch it again later. All right? Alexa, I'm doing fine. And today, Lee, the topic is I'm going to give you as many English tips as I can. I'm basically going to give you guys a preview of my book. I'm going to give you a preview of my book. So, that's what we're going to do today. So, listen. You will get a lot of great tips on this live stream, but I don't think I'm going to be able to bring anybody on the stage today. Okay? I have too much material to try to get through. Okay? So if you're hoping to come on the stage, today's probably not your day. But if you're hoping to learn a lot about how to improve your English, then today is your day. Okay? So let's start. We're going to start with number 1, the most important thing that you must remember if you are learning a language. What is the purpose of language? What is the purpose of language? Communication. That's exactly right. The purpose of language is communication. The purpose of language is not perfection. The purpose of language is communication. Okay? So, why is that important? Why is that important to remember? Andre, if you want to follow my class, that's great. But if you want to be here and just waste time, that's not great. If you want to give real answers, fine. But don't waste everybody's time by being sarcastic. So, it's important to remember that the purpose of language is communication and not perfection. Because almost all of you are trying to be perfect. And that's why you're so frustrated. Because you want your language to be perfect, but you have forgotten that language is not about being perfect. When a baby says, Dada, Mama, nobody says, oh, no, the word is not Dada, the word is Father. Do you correct your baby when your baby says Dada? No, because the purpose of language is communication. And that baby just communicated with you. She said, Dada, and you said, wow, Dada. So you have to remember that. If you speak and you don't speak perfectly, so what? That's not what's important. What's important is, did they understand you? Did they understand you? Okay? Now, that's where you do need to care about things like grammar a little bit, but not too much. Okay? So, the most important thing to remember if you were going to learn any language is language is not about perfection. Language is about communication and expression. So if you can communicate and express yourself, then you have good language. All right? So that's step 1. Step 1 is understanding what is the purpose of language. All right? Now that we know what the purpose of language is, now we have to understand what is the right attitude that we need to have in order to learn a language. If you want to learn a language, you need the right attitude, okay? And part of that attitude is knowing that language is about communication, not about perfection. But there's another very, very important point that you have to remember. If you want to learn a language, you are not allowed to be shy. Let me say that one more time. If you want to learn a language, you are not allowed to be shy. Okay? It's that simple. You're not allowed to be shy. I don't care if you're a shy person. I'm sorry. It's not part of learning a language. Just like if you are in the army, you're not allowed to be shy. If you are a performer, like a musician or an actor, you're not allowed to be shy. It's that simple. Okay? So, be a language warrior. Be a language warrior. That means that you need to understand language learning is a fight. Language learning is a battle. Andre got laughed at a lot. That's part of the battle, Andre. You have to be strong enough to get laughed at and not care. Do soldiers care if they get laughed at? No. Soldiers don't care if you laugh at them. They're soldiers. So you have to be a language soldier. No one cares. If you're a language soldier, you don't care what other people think. You only care about your purpose in language learning. Okay? So yes, number one, you must be a language warrior. Okay? Being a language warrior it means that you have to be brave. You have to be brave. Speaking a language requires confidence. Okay? If you want to learn a language, you must speak a language. So you cannot use the excuse that I'm too shy. I'm too shy. I'm too shy. I'm too shy. I'm sorry, but no. Grow up. It's that simple. Okay? There are only 2% of you, 2%, who might have a problem with shyness that's very severe and it needs help from a professional. 2%. The rest of you, Mr. Lin, you just need to get over it. Get over it. Who cares if people laugh at you? You're an adult. Be an adult. Adults don't care if other adults laugh at them. Children care. Adults don't. Well, Andre, grow up. Okay? So learn how to not care. Adults should not be so concerned about what other people think of them. You should be concerned about what you think of you. Okay? Kirsty says, I'm always shy. Well, it's time to stop. K-Cap says, my voice is small. Well, it's time to make your voice bigger. It's time. It's time. No more excuses. No more excuses. Be a language warrior. If you want to learn a language, then you better be willing to fight. And the thing, what are you fighting? What are we fighting? We're fighting fear. We're fighting fear. Okay? So when I tell you you are not allowed to be shy, I'm telling you you're not allowed to be afraid. It's just talking. Why are you afraid of talking? It's talking. What can happen? Nothing. Okay? This is really important. Okay, so I talk to you all the time and I say, be a language warrior. Be a language warrior. Be a language warrior. Put your shyness away with all your other childish things. Okay? All right, so be a language warrior. Be a language warrior. Be a language warrior. So let's talk about the 5 parts of language learning. There are 5 parts of language learning. What are the 5 parts of language learning? Anyone? Thank you very much, Adam, for the gifts. What are the 5 parts of language learning? Reading, that's 1. Writing, yep. Speaking, listening. Mina has the 5th one. Thinking. Thinking, thinking, thinking. There are 5 parts of language learning. But when you learned language, they told you there were 4 parts of language learning. They told you reading, writing, listening, and speaking. But I'm sorry. No. There is a tremendous flaw in that. Tremendous means big. Flaw means mistake. There's a big, big mistake in that. Right now, when you're listening to me, what language are you using in your mind? English. Right. So you should be using English. If you are listening to English, you should be thinking in English. But many of you, you're trying to speak in English, but you're trying to think in Chinese or whatever your native language is. You're trying to write in English, but you're trying to think in Chinese or Spanish. You're trying to read in English, but you're trying to think in Japanese or French. That's so crazy. So, if you want to know one of the best tips that you will ever get about learning any language, then here it is. The level of your language is directly related to how much time you spend thinking in that language. The level of your language is in relationship to how much time you spend thinking in that language. So, if you think your level is low, it's because you're not thinking in English. Okay? So, how can you think in English, right? How can you think in English? I want you to start with simple things like the things you need as a person. What are your personal needs? Personal needs. When you wake up in the morning, I want you to think. What do I need to do? I need to get dressed. I need to brush my teeth. I need to wash my face. I need to make breakfast and get ready for work. I want you to wake up and think about what you need to do that day in English. KCAP says, I can't thinking in English. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. 你需要想很简单的。如果你需要简单的，你可以。Okay? Just think simply. Simply. I am hungry. Can you think that? That's all. Okay? If you just start with simple things like, I want to go to the store. I need to buy milk. I want to eat dinner. I'm late for work. I'm not asking you to think about world politics in English. I'm asking you to just think about very simple things. What are you wearing? What are you doing? How are you feeling? Okay? So, there are 5 parts of language learning, and the 5th one is thinking. And thinking is the most important part of any language. So, right now, I can tell you that most of you don't think in English most of the time. And that's why your language isn't improving. Okay? So here's what you need to do. Starting today, start thinking in English more. A little bit more every day. A little bit more every day. A little bit more every day. And if you find something that you don't know how to say, you find something that you don't know how to think, congratulations, you found something to learn. That's why thinking is so important. Because if you think in the language you're learning, you can find all the things you need to learn. It's very simple. Okay? So, 5 parts of language learning, everybody. Reading, writing, listening, speaking, and thinking. Okay, so let me get to my next topic, which is, how can I speak faster, Teacher Mark? How can I speak faster, Teacher Mark? Teacher Mark, I want to speak faster like the Americans do. They speak really fast, and I want to speak like them. Learning a language is not about speaking fast. Learning a language is about speaking well. You are not trying to speak fast. You're trying to speak with control. That's the point, okay? Control, not speed. Okay? So, I want you to go look online and find all the greatest speakers that you can find. Find the people who speak the best. And then I want you to look and see, how fast do they speak? How fast do they speak? Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman is an American actor who is very famous for his voice. And he doesn't speak fast. Okay? James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader. Luke, I am your father. That's James Earl Jones. Also famous for his voice. He also does not speak fast. So, stop thinking that fast is good. Good is good. Fast is fast. Okay? You don't need to speak fast. You need to speak well. You don't need to speak fast. You need to speak well. Okay? So it's not about speed. It's about control. It's not about speed. It's about control, everyone. All right? So let's go back a little bit. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how you can think in English, right? I told you that step 1 is thinking about your personal needs. Your personal needs. If you want to learn how to think in English, step 1 is learning how to think about your personal needs. So when you wake up in the morning, what do you need to do? I need to brush my teeth. I need to get dressed. I need to make breakfast. I need to get ready for work. Wake up and think of the things you need to do. Just simple things that you need to do in life. Those are not complicated things to think about. I'm hungry. That's not complicated. That's easy. Okay? That's level 1 of thinking in English. Level 1 of thinking in English is just thinking about your personal needs. What do you need to do? Okay? Step 2 is what we call who, what, when, where, why. Who, what, when, where, why. I want you to answer the questions who, what, when, where, why, and how. Everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. So if you go to the store, I want you to think who. Who is at the store? Who is going to the store? Who owns this store? What? What is this store? What does this store do? What does this store have? Why? Why is this store here? When? When is this store open? Where? Where is this store located? Can I give directions for this store? And how? How can I get to this store? How is this store built? Anything. So there's level 1, your personal needs. Level 2, who, what, when, where, why, and how. Level 3 of English thinking is topics. So you can think about topics like, for example, your clothing. What are you wearing? Can you describe clothing well? Can you describe all clothing well? Men's clothing, women's clothing? Do you know how to talk about clothes? Food. Can you talk about food? Can you talk about cooking? Can you talk about food in restaurants? Can you order food? You can talk about hobbies. Hobbies. Think about hobbies. Can you think about your hobbies? Can you think in your mind about swimming or running or jogging? Or can you talk about the things you like to do in your mind? Okay, so level 3 is topics. Topics, any topics, family, friends, work, hobbies, food, music, anything. Okay? And then finally, level 4. Level 4 is advanced English thinking. To do advanced English thinking, we think about advanced topics. So now, if I'm thinking about the store, right? If I'm at the store and I'm thinking about the store, I'm thinking about what are the economics of this store? What are the what is the psychology of a grocery store? What is the philosophy of a grocery store? What is the history of the grocery store? So I'm trying to think about advanced concepts, concept thinking. Conceptual thinking, everyone. Conceptual thinking. One moment, please. Okay, so let me review about how you can practice thinking. Okay, so level 1, your personal needs. Level 1 is your personal needs. Are you hungry? Do you need to get up and get dressed? Do you need a shower? Are you late for work? Your personal needs. Okay? Level 2 of English thinking is who, what, when, where, why, and how. Answer those questions everywhere you go. Who is there? What are they doing? Where is it? Why are they there? Who, what, when, where, why, how. Okay? Level 3 is topics. Okay? Like family, friends, work, past, present, future, hobbies, interests, things you like, things you don't like. Okay? And then finally, level 4, conceptual thinking. Concepts. Big ideas like psychology and philosophy and economics, religion, politics. Okay? Those are the 4 levels of English thinking, or thinking in any language. Okay? Okay, let's go on. How much should you practice? How much do you need to practice? Tanya, running is more than jogging. Jogging is usually just at an easy pace. You're not trying to go real fast. Running could be jogging, but running could be going as fast as you can. Jogging is never going as fast as you can. Okay, jogging is always just going at an easy rate for exercise. Okay? So, how much should you practice? Andre says the 10,000 hours rule. Well, you're close. You're close, Andre. Yes, Andres Ramirez, I am a drummer. Saeed says we should practice as much as we can. Okay, well, here's my answer. Andre is talking about the 10,000 hours rule. What is the 10,000 hours rule? The 10,000 hours rule is that it takes about 10,000 hours of doing something to become a master of that thing. That's the 10,000 hours rule, okay? And that's a good rule to remember. I do like to think about that, Andre, but that's not the answer that I'm going to give you. But my answer does have a number in it. So I like to call this the 1,000 times theory. Or I also call it the Bruce Lee theory. Okay? The 1,000 times theory or the Bruce Lee theory. So Ilya says 1 hour per day. Ilya, I don't think it's valuable at all to give a number like 1 hour per day, because it doesn't matter how much time you spend. It matters whether that time is well spent. Right? You can spend 10 hours per day, but if you don't study well, then it doesn't matter that you did 10 hours, right? So my theory is called the 1,000 times theory, or I also call it the Bruce Lee theory. And I call it the Bruce Lee theory because basically Bruce Lee's concept one of his concepts was, do you guys know who is Bruce Lee? Bruce Lee. 大家你们知道吗？他是很有名的功夫人。Yeah, right. He's a kung fu guy, right? Yes, there you go. Right? Bruce Lee. Okay? Now, Bruce Lee had a theory. And his theory was that when you're fighting, you don't have time to think. You don't have time to think when you're in a fight. So, you have to practice something so many times until you're not thinking anymore. Until it happens just like that. Okay? That's what I call the 1,000 times theory. So, sometimes people tell me, Teacher Mark, I practiced this thing, but I still can't do it. Teacher Mark, I practiced this thing, but I still can't do it. And I ask them, how many times did you practice? How many times? And they say, oh, I practiced like 10 times, or I practiced 100 times, or I practiced 200 times. Well, I'm sorry. But if you did not practice 1,000 times, then you did not practice. If you did not practice 1,000 times, then you did not practice. Okay? It's that simple. To be good at something, you have to do it a lot. And most of you don't understand what a lot means. A lot is a lot. A lot is a lot. So, no, 10 times is not enough. 100 times is not enough. You have to do it until you are tired of doing it. You have to do it until you are annoyed. If you've done it until you are annoyed, then you've done it enough. Okay? That's how practicing works. If you want to be good at something, then you have to push yourself until you are so tired of doing it that you don't want to do it anymore. But that takes 1,000 times. Okay? And Andre says he's annoyed already. Well, try harder, Andre. Being good is not easy. Let me say that one more time. Being good is not easy. No. Being good at anything is not easy. It takes work. All right? All right. So that's what I call the 1,000 times theory. But now we're going to talk about what I call the learning and comfortability connection. The learning and comfortability connection. What is the learning and comfortability connection, everyone? Thank you, Andre. I know I give you a hard time, but that's what a teacher is supposed to do. My teachers gave me lots of hard times. Okay, so what is the learning comfortability connection? Does anyone know? Take care, Adam. Don't worry, I'm recording this, Adam, and I'm going to post it. Okay? So don't worry, you can watch this again later. Juliana says, when you enjoy what you're doing. Not exactly, but you're close. You're close, Juliana. Okay, so the learning comfortability connection is very simple. When you're learning something new, new is uncomfortable. New things are uncomfortable. That's just how they are. So, I like to use the example of swimming. Swimming. When you go swimming, okay, when you first learn how to swim, everybody is scared. Everybody is scared to go swimming. Everybody's scared to jump in the water, right? Just like you're scared to talk. Being scared of speaking is weird. There's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing can happen to you, but you are afraid. Being scared of jumping in the water is also weird. Nothing can happen to you. The water is this tall. The water is not very deep. You can jump in the water and you're not going to die. But we're still scared, right? Okay? In the beginning, when you jump in the water, you're uncomfortable because it's new. So the first time you jump in the water to go swimming and you look like this. Okay? You look like crazy because you don't know what to do. Okay? But the next time you do it, you look like this. And the next time you do it, you look like this. And the next time you do it, you look like this. And the next time you do it, you look like you are a perfect swimmer. That's what we call the learning comfortability connection. In the beginning, everything that is new is uncomfortable. The only way you can become comfortable is to do it more. You have to do it. If you are uncomfortable, keep doing it. If you are uncomfortable, keep doing it. You have to keep doing it, and eventually you'll become comfortable. So do it again, and you'll become more comfortable. Do it again, you'll become more comfortable. Do it again, you'll become more comfortable. That's right, Dino. So, this is the same as when I was a young drummer. When I was a young drummer, the first time that I got on stage to perform, I was scared. The first time I got on stage to perform, I was scared. But the second time I got on stage, I was less scared. The next time I got on stage, I was less scared. Now, when I get on stage, I'm at home. I'm at home when I get on stage now. I'm not afraid. I'm comfortable. That's the learning comfortability connection. Anything you learn in the beginning is uncomfortable. Accept it. Accept that it's uncomfortable. But there's only one way to make it more comfortable. You have to do it more. Okay? There's only one way to make it more comfortable. You have to do it more. All right? Thank you, Nor. Take care. I'll see you next time. That's right, Ilya, to step across your fear. Fear, you can't go around fear, everyone. There is no going around fear. Fear goes as far as the eye can see. You cannot go around it. You can only go through it. Okay? You can't go around fear. You can only go through it. All right? So, that's the next part. That's what we call the learning comfortability connection. Okay? So, let's see. What do we have next? How's everyone doing? Are we getting some good notes about English learning? All right, good. All right, so let's keep going. So let's talk about, let's see. Let's talk about finding your fixes. finding your fixes. What does this mean, to find your fixes? What this means is everyone who speaks a language, there are maybe 3 to 5 common mistakes that they make all the time. Okay? You need to know what are the most common mistakes that you make when you speak. All right? Is your problem grammar? Like maybe you don't know what tense to use. Okay? Is your problem punctuation? You don't know when to use a period or when to use a comma. Is your problem plural and singular? You don't know when to use plural and when to use singular. You need to be aware of what your most common errors are. Okay? Whenever we speak, there are certain things that we always do wrong. There's certain things that we always, seem to have trouble with. So, what you need to do is think about your language and think about what are the most common things that you always make mistakes with. Is it tense? Maybe you don't understand simple tense or present perfect or past perfect or whatever, right? Okay, so now you know that present perfect is a problem for you, so now you should go focus on it. All right? If you want to get better at something, then you must focus on your weaknesses, everyone. I was going to do that part later, but we should do that part now. Let's talk about that now. So, finding your fixes. Finding your fixes means finding the things that are the most common errors that you do, okay? And here's what I want you to do. I want you to find them, and then I want you to write them down on a piece of paper, and I want you to fold that piece of paper and keep it in your back pocket, always. I want you to put your mistakes on a piece of paper, and I want you to keep it in your pocket, always. That will remind you of the things you need to remember to fix. Okay? If you can, go get a tattoo. Get a tattoo and put it on your arm with all your most common mistakes. All right? Then you won't forget. You'll be like, oh, look, this is what I need to remember right here for perfect English. All right, well, so if we're going to talk about finding your fixes, then we also need to talk about something very, very important, which is your strengths and your weaknesses. Your strengths and your weaknesses. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Why is this important when we're learning? Why is this important when we're learning, everyone? Bellin says, how do I know if it's wrong or not when I'm speaking? Well, Bellin, you're right. There are some mistakes that you don't know. You don't realize you made a mistake. But I'm not talking about those mistakes. I'm talking about the mistakes that you make all the time, and you know there's something not correct about what you're saying. You know that the way you said it is not right, but you just don't know the way, or you can't remember the way. Those are the ones I'm talking about. Okay? So, why is it important to know what your strengths and weaknesses are? Tara says balance of confidence and self-criticism. Ilya says because we have to be the best of the best. Okay. Paulina says, Paulina, you're funny. That's hilarious. Okay. So, Juliana said, if you know your weaknesses, then that's how you find your fixes. That's very good. Thank you, Juliana. Yeah. So, Juliana and everybody here, when you learn the drums, when you learn to be a drummer, the very first thing they ask you is, are you right-handed or are you left-handed? Because drumming is all about physical coordination. And most people have a strong side or a weak side, right? A right hand or a left hand that's stronger or weaker, right? So when you learn drumming, the first thing they do is tell you, oh, you are right-handed. So if you are right-handed, then that means you have to practice everything with your left twice as much. So, whatever your weaknesses are, you have to focus on them twice as much. Did you hear me? Whatever your weaknesses are, you must focus on them twice as much. So if you are good at reading, then you don't need to work on reading. If you are bad at speaking, then you need to work at speaking. So whatever your weaknesses are, that's what you need to spend the most time doing. Okay? Listen, write this down. You can't get better if you keep practicing the things you're already good at. You can't get better if you're practicing the things that you're already good at. You have to practice the things that you're not good at. Okay? So, let me ask you a question, everyone. Let me ask you a question. If you hear a professional musician, a really good, famous musician, if you hear them practicing, do you think it will sound good? When a professional musician is practicing at home, do you think it will sound good? Tara says yes. Ilya says no. Sugar Cube says yes. Muhammad Reza says yes. Okay, well, you're going to be surprised. When professional musicians practice, we want it to sound bad. Why? Why do we want it to sound bad when we're practicing? Andre, do you know? Because if it sounds good, then you're not really trying. If it sounds good, then you're not really challenging yourself. You have not pushed yourself. If it sounds really, really good, then it's super easy for you. So no, when a professional musician practices, it won't sound good a lot of the time because they're trying to push themselves to be better. And to push yourself to be better, you have to be willing to be at that very edge of capability. Okay? If you're always practicing in a place where you're very comfortable, then you aren't going to get better. If you're always practicing where you're very comfortable, you will not get better. That's right. You have to get out of your comfort zone, Tara. That's right. All right? You have to be willing to sound bad in order to sound good. You have to be willing to sound bad in order to sound good. Get it? All right? All right. So, let's move on. Let's get to something a little bit more specific. We'll talk about how you can improve your accent. Oh, no, not yet. I'm sorry. Let's go back. I'm sorry. So we just did strengths and weaknesses. Now we're going to talk about one other thing that's really, really, really important. We're going to talk about mistakes. Since we're talking about practice and we're talking about sounding bad, I want to know, do you like mistakes? Are mistakes good or are mistakes bad? Are mistakes good or are mistakes bad? Xiao Chen says mistakes are bad. Eric says mistakes are bad. Paulina says sometimes it's scary to make them. Okay, let me be very, very, very clear. Mistakes are good. Mistakes are how we learn. You must make mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, then you're not making progress. So let me try to tell you this then. The progress you make is related to the amount of mistakes you make. The more mistakes you make, the more progress you make. Why? I know this sounds crazy, but it's true. The more mistakes you make, the more progress you make. Because if you make mistakes, you can learn from your mistakes. Okay? You can learn from your mistakes. So mistakes are good. Hug your mistakes. Love your mistakes. Your mistakes are there to teach you. Okay? Every bad feeling you have in life is a teacher. So if you feel embarrassed, there's a lesson to learn. If you feel scared, there's a lesson to learn. If you feel angry, there's a lesson to learn. Every mistake you make in life, there's a lesson to learn. Okay? So, the more mistakes you make, the more progress you make. But some of you, you're afraid to speak. So you don't make any mistakes, so you don't make any progress. Okay? So, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Love your mistakes. Okay? And if you make mistakes, then how do you feel? When you make a mistake, how do you feel? When you make a mistake in English, how do you feel? Abdo says disappointment. Anyone else? Fabio says, I feel bad the first time. Priya says, I feel down. Juliana says, I feel discouraged. Okay? All right? So, what about embarrassed? Are you embarrassed sometimes? You feel shame? Right? Okay. Well, then, do you remember when I told you that you have to be a language warrior? This is part of being a language warrior. Your enemy is fear and embarrassment. Your enemy is fear, or I should say your enemies are fear and embarrassment. Your enemies are fear and embarrassment. So, fight your embarrassment. Don't just let it happen. Okay? Shyness, fear, embarrassment, those are the things that you have to fight. Shyness, fear, and embarrassment, shame. Those are the feelings that you need to fight when you're a language warrior. Okay? So, embarrassment is your enemy. Let me teach you a cool word. Glossophobia. Glossophobia. Do you know what glossophobia is? What is glossophobia? Well, do we know what a phobia is? What is a phobia? Phobias are things we're afraid of. Okay, any phobia is a thing that you're afraid of. So, for example, there's a movie called Arachnophobia. Arachnophobia means you're scared of snakes. I'm sorry, spiders. You're scared of spiders. Arachnophobia is scared of spiders. Okay, claustrophobia is you're scared of small spaces. Okay, so glossophobia is the fear of speaking in public. Okay, and guess what? 40% of native speakers are afraid to speak in public. 40% of native English speakers are afraid to speak in public. Why? If they're native speakers, they speak English. So why are they afraid? Yeah, really, Eric. Genda. 40% of native speakers of any language, of every language, are afraid to speak in public. That means that your problem is not your grammar. Your problem is not your vocabulary. Your problem is not your pronunciation. Your problem is your fear. Your problem is your fear. Okay? So, if you want to learn a language, what did I say? You have to be a language warrior. And part of being a language warrior means knowing that embarrassment and shame and fear, those are your enemies. Embarrassment, shame, fear, those are your enemies. Shyness, those are your enemies. Know your enemy. Okay? Know your enemy. All right. So, let's see. Let's do this. Let's take a short break. I still have a lot to go over. I still have a lot to do. I don't even know if I'll be able to finish it in one live stream. But let's take a short break. And if somebody wants to come talk to me for a minute, and then I'll get back to my book. Would anyone like to come talk to me for just 1 minute? I'll invite one person on the stage to talk to me. Raise your hand if you would like to come up and talk to me. Anyone? Bueller. Bueller. Nobody. Now everybody's afraid to speak to me. Nobody? Oh, okay, here we go. Coral. Coral wants to come talk to me. Coral, hello, Coral. That's a pretty name. Hello, Coral. How are you?
Coral. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How are you today?
I really appreciate you. You taught me a lot.
Well, thank you. I'm glad. Coral, what city are you in China? Are you in Beijing or where?
Now I stay in Changchun.
Changchun, where is Changchun?
In the northeast part of China.
Northeast, okay, all right. So pretty cold up
Yes,
there?
in Jilin province.
Ah, okay, all right, I know there.
It's cool.
It's
Yeah,
cool, yeah, okay. All
I
right,
like the weather.
yeah, okay. And Coral, did you have a question for me or something you want to ask me about or talk about?
Because I'm new in this app, but I also see you have a live stream every day,
Almost
almost
every day.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are work very hard. You help these learners like me. So I want to know how can you do this every day? The power.
Well, it's easy to do the things you love. And I like to
Oh,
teach. I like teaching. I like teaching. I started teaching when I was very young, and Coral, when I was young, I had a very hard time as a student. It was very difficult for me to learn. I struggled a lot. And because I struggled as a learner, it it turned me into a good teacher because I understand the problems that students have. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about learning. I've spent a lot of time thinking about learning, how people learn and how it works. And I've been teaching for a long time, so I have a lot of experience. And I've seen it. I've seen how it works, with students. And so when people ask me, how do I do it? I don't even know how to answer that question because, Coral, I don't know how to do things that I don't enjoy. I only do the things that I like to do. So everything that I do is something I enjoy doing. So I love teaching, you know, and I work hard because I do. I believe in myself, and I believe that if I continue to work hard, that I will make good money eventually. That I have to just keep pushing, and that eventually I'll make good money. And that I have to believe in myself, just like I tell you guys to believe in yourselves, So I do this because I love it, and I do it because I have a vision for something bigger. I want to do this more. I want to teach more. I want to do more than I can. But the only way I can do that is if I get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that just means I have to keep working. So,
yeah. Great. You said that you love teaching, and this is the thing that you enjoy. I think there is another reason. Maybe because your character, you are very friendly and helpful. You can teach people English for some money, but you do this free every day. I think so. So maybe you enjoy helping others. So I admire you very much.
Thank you, Coral. I do. That's why I like teaching, because I love helping people. I love when someone is confused or frustrated and I give them some information that makes them go, oh, now I understand. Now I get it. Now I can do it. And then they feel like they're growing and becoming a better person. I get to be a part of that. So, Coral, I love teaching because I get to change people's lives. And they don't even know it. Sometimes they don't even know that I've changed their life, but I have, you know. And the cool thing about teaching, Coral, is that you never know where my influence will end. You never know when a teacher's influence will end. So I might die, but my teaching might live for hundreds of years. People might continue to say the things that I said, you know? So I hope that in 200 years, someone is saying, be a language warrior. I hope that someone is saying, you know, there are 5 ways of language learning, thinking, you know, all this stuff that I say. I hope that my words will live on, you know? And that's a cool feeling. That's a cool feeling when you feel like your words can help people not just now, but forever. You know, like beneficial words are good for all time. And that's a wonderful feeling, you know? So, yes, that's why I like teaching, because I like helping people. I like doing things that make people happy. So I play music, I make food, I teach. Those are the things that I do.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
More than 1 minute.
You're welcome. So, all right. Well, Coral, do you have any other questions for me or anything else you would like to say?
No.
No?
Just go on.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on and asking me, and thank you for following and everything, Coral. I really appreciate it. So I guess we'll keep going. So it's already 10:30. Usually I stop my stream now, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going if that's all right with you guys. I'm going to keep going. All right. Let's see. Let's see. What should we talk about next? Let me take a look at my notes here. All right. Well, let's get to some specific things about how to learn. So we'll start with this one. Many people, they ask me about how they can learn, how can they memorize words better? Many people ask me, Teacher Mark, how can I memorize words better? I always forget the words. How can I memorize them better? And do you know what I'm going to say? Anyone? What am I going to say? Does anyone know what I'm going to say about memorization? No, here's what I say about memorization. Are you ready, everyone? This is important. Here we go. Ready? Memorizing is the worst way to learn. Memorizing is the worst way to learn. Don't memorize anything. when you tell me that you want to memorize something, all I hear is, I'm lazy, I don't want to do any work, so I'm going to do this instead. Okay? So, no, if you write down a word 10 times, that is not going to help you. That does nothing. That does nothing for you. So, let me ask you a question. If you're forgetting words, why are you forgetting words? Why are you forgetting them? If you memorized the word, then why did you forget? If you memorized the word, then why did you forget? Sugar Q says, because we don't use them in context. Shinty says, because we don't use it. Akito says, because we don't use it. Okay. Most people are saying we didn't use it. That's close. You're close. Okay? If you are forgetting words, if you are forgetting what a word means, there's a very simple reason why. You didn't spend enough time with that word. That's it. When you walk down the street, if you see another person and they walk down the street, you saw them for 2 seconds. You only saw them for 2 seconds. Are you going to remember them? No. If you stop and say hello to them, will you remember them better? Maybe. If you stop and say hello to them and have a conversation and ask them how they're doing and talk to them, will you remember them? So, it's very simple. If you are forgetting words, it's because you didn't spend enough time with them. So, spend more time with the words. Take your words out to lunch. Take your words to the movie theater. You need to spend more time with your words. And I don't care if you say, I don't have time, I can't do it. Find the time. Learning is not something that you can just say, oh, well, I don't have time. No, you have to learn. You have to find a way. You can't just... No, I'm sorry. If you want to be smart, you have to try. If you want to be smart, you have to try. You have to find the time. Okay? You have to find the time. All right? How can you find the time? Well, I have tips for that too. I'll get to that later. But the most important thing that you need to know is that memorizing is the worst way to learn. It's the worst way to learn. I don't memorize anything. I don't memorize anything. Nope. I don't use memorization ever. So if I don't need it, then you don't either. If I don't need it, then you don't either. Okay? So once again, everyone, I will say it one final time. Memorizing is the worst way to learn. Ha ha. Okay? Let's see, what else will we talk about here? Let's go to my next topic. I'll save that one for later. How about this one? Okay. Since we're talking about learning techniques, many people, they say to me, Teacher Mark, when I see this TV show, I can't understand that guy. When I see this movie, I can't understand that guy. Why can I understand you, but I can't understand the guy in the TV show or the movie? Okay, I have a very simple answer. You understand me because I am trying to be understood. It's my job. When you watch a movie or a TV show, their job is not to be understood. Their job is to entertain you. They aren't there for your learning. Almost every TV show or movie that you see is not always going to be good for learning. Some things that you are watching are just not good for learning. That's why it's hard. Okay? So if I'm watching something and people are speaking too quickly and they're not using proper language, then that is not good for learning. Okay? So find the people who speak well and listen to them. Don't listen to everyone. Listen to the people who speak well. Eventually, a long time now down the road, then you'll understand everyone. But in the beginning, you can't understand everyone. In the beginning, you can only understand the people who speak well. And that's okay. Okay? So please remember that. Don't try to understand everyone. You can't. And you're going to be frustrated. Try to understand the people who speak well. So if you find a TV show and that guy speaks really well, watch that show. And then find every other movie and TV show that that guy has done. Okay? So if you find a good speaker, listen to them. I'm teaching you to do it the way a musician does. When a musician learns an instrument like piano, if I want to learn the piano, I don't listen to everyone who plays piano. No. I only listen to the people who play piano really well. I use them as my model. If your model is garbage, then you are going to be modeling garbage. So find a better model and follow them. Okay? Find a better model and follow them. Don't listen to everyone. Listen to those who are good. Don't listen to everyone. Listen to those who are good. Okay, let's go on. Let me give you some, how about I give you some vocabulary building techniques? Would you like that? How about some vocabulary building techniques? Would that be useful? So, if you want to build your vocabulary, that's very important for any language, right? It's very important. But I'm always surprised about how people learn vocabulary, especially English vocabulary. Because most of you, when you're learning vocabulary, you don't have any plan. You don't have any system. You're just learning one new word and then another new word and then another new word, and they're all unrelated. You can't do it that way. If you want to learn vocabulary, you need a system. You need a plan. Okay? You need a methodology, all right? Etymology. That's right. Etymology is one way, Ilya. So before we get to etymology, though, the first place that I like to start for building your vocabulary is with a thesaurus. Thesaurus.com. Go get it. Let me show you how brilliant Thesaurus.com is. Give me any word. Give me some word. Somebody give me a word. Anyone? Give me a word. Beautiful. Perfect. So I'm going to type in the word beautiful into my thesaurus.com dictionary here, and it will give me the dictionary definition. There's the definition of the word beautiful. It says, having beauty, possessing qualities that give great pleasure or satisfaction to see, hear, think about, etc. So that's the definition of the word beautiful, right? But I can also look up all of the synonyms, and there are many, like alluring, appealing, charming, cute, dazzling, delicate, delightful, elegant, exquisite, fascinating, fine, good-looking, gorgeous, graceful, grand, handsome, lovely, magnificent, marvelous, pleasing, pretty, splendid, stunning, superb, and wonderful. All of those words are related to the word beautiful. That is a good way to improve your vocabulary. So many. That's right. So many. Thesaurus.com. You need a thesaurus. Okay, that's one way. Then yes, etymology is another way. Etymology, everyone. What is etymology? Etymology means the history of words. Where do these words come from? How were they created or formed? And when you learn etymology, especially for English, it's really useful. So you can learn all the words that have the letters P-R-E. P-R-E means means beginning, before, right? Before something, right? So if I say preview, that means look before. How many words can you think of that have pre? How many words can you think of that have the letters P-R-E? Do you know how many words there are in English that have P-R-E? There are a lot of them. Previous, president. Yeah, there are lots and lots and lots of pre-words. Okay? Yeah. All right, prevent, prepare, preview. That's right. There are lots and lots of words that have pre in them, okay? But Abdo said pretty. Now, there's a good one because the word pretty is not related to the letters P-R-E, meaning before. So, Abdo, in English, if you see the letters P-R-E, there's a 90% chance that it's probably a word that has to do with something before. 90%, maybe 80%, okay? But there's also a 10 or 20% chance that it's not related to that word. So, for example, the word pretty has the letters P-R-E, but the word pretty does not come from the same word. It doesn't come from the same root. Okay? So, a thesaurus is a good way to build your vocabulary. Etymology is a good way to build your vocabulary. Reading English novels. Read an English book. If you are not reading, then you are not improving your vocabulary. If you want to learn a language, you got to read. If you want to learn a language, you've got to read. Get a book and read. I know some of you say, I don't like books. I don't like books. Books are boring. No, you're wrong. Books are amazing. I can draw this on paper and you can read it and understand my thoughts because of what I wrote. That's incredible. Reading and books are the most incredible technology that we have. So, if you say you don't like books, then you are saying you don't like the most incredible technology that we have available to us. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you have to like every book. I'm not saying you have to like every book. But if you tell me that you can't find a book that you like, then I'll tell you you haven't tried hard enough. There are millions of books. If you haven't found one that you love yet, you didn't try hard enough. There are millions of good books. Okay? Can I suggest books for us? Sophia, not really, because you need to figure out what level is good for you. I can't recommend a book because I don't know your level, Sophia. How can you know what level a book, or if a book is at your level? Whatever you're reading, I don't care what it is, romance, action, detective novel, drama, history, politics, science, I don't care what you're reading. A good book that's the right level for you should have no more than 20 or 15 new words per page. Okay? If you're reading a book and it has more than 15 or 20 new words on one page, that book is too hard for you. You're never going to finish it. It's too hard. You need to find a book where the level of the book is about 10 or 15, maybe 20 new words that you don't know. If it's more than that, it's too hard. Okay? And then, so let me review vocabulary building techniques. Okay? Vocabulary building techniques. 1, you need a thesaurus. A thesaurus is a very valuable tool for you. 2, etymology is really, really, really useful. Yes, it can be a little bit difficult, but it also can be really, really helpful. Etymology. Okay, on every Sunday, I do a live stream about etymology. Join my Sunday live streams. Okay? Reading English books is the third way. Read English books. Okay, but some of you say, I don't like to read English books. And sometimes you guys ask me, Teacher Mark, do you read a lot? You must read a lot. The truth is, no, I don't read many books anymore. I don't have a lot of time to read books. I wish I did, but I don't. I do read a lot. I read a lot of articles. I read articles. So I wake up in the morning and I read the news. And maybe there's something in the news that I want to learn more about. So I'll find more about that thing and read more about that thing. So be curious and read. All right? And then finally, the last way of learning vocabulary is to create what I call a facet list or a topic list. So a topic list is something simple like family. Do you know all the vocabulary words that you need to know about family? Friends. Work. Do you know all the words you need to know for work? Politics. Religion. Do you know all the words you need to know for politics and religion? Okay, so I'll review them for you, Eric. Eric, step 1 for vocabulary building techniques, get a thesaurus. Step 1, get a thesaurus. Step 2, learn about etymology. Learn about etymology, the history of where words come from. Step 3, read. Read English books or articles. Articles are good too. Okay? And finally, create a facet list. Create a topic list. A list of topics, ideas, and then write all the vocabulary you need for those ideas. Okay? Abdo says etymology is those that have a high level in English. Abdo, like I said, etymology is difficult, but it's not beyond you. Okay? And be careful, Abdo, because etymology, etymology, that is the study of words. Entomology, what you just wrote there, that's the study of insects. The study of bugs is entomology. Okay? Etymology is what we are talking about. All right. So listen, everybody. It's almost 11 a.m. and I've been talking for about 2 hours. So I'm going to take a break. I think I'm going to take a break. But I'll come back. I'll come back in about 30 minutes. Okay? So if you would like to hear part 2 of my English learning tips, then you should come back and see me in about 30 minutes. Okay? I'm going to take a break, and then I'll be back, and we'll talk more, and I have a lot more. Okay? I'm writing a book. You guys are getting a preview of my book. You're getting a preview of my book. Okay? So if you want to hear the rest of my preview, then come back and see me in about 30 minutes or so. Okay? That guy. All right? Please make sure you hit the follow button. I have about 49,000 followers, but I really want to hit 50,000 like today. I don't think I'm going to hit it today, but I want to hit 50,000 very soon. So please share, follow and share, follow and share, follow and share, follow and share. Okay? All right. So, everybody, I will be back very shortly. I'll be back in about 30 minutes, and then we'll do part 2 of Teacher Mark's English learning tips. All right? Sound good? Yes? Don't miss it. Come back and see me. Okay, everybody, thanks again. And I will see you guys back here in about 30 minutes. Bye-bye.